From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast with Scott Sander.
Welcome to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast. I'm Scott Sander. On this episode,
let's get started with another look at an organization that's offering help for businesses dealing with stress in the workplace. We discuss our partnership with INNOPower on an upcoming event, and we wrap things up with an empowering success story.
Every business is unique and has a target audience. If you own or manage a business, Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble, offering best-in-class results, service, and support to reach a bigger customer base, allowing you to pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. Get outside the city, the state, span the globe. Put Circulus Digital Media to work for you. Get started now at circulusdigital.com. That's circulusdigital.com.
Why get all your holiday decorations delivered through Instacart? Because maybe you only bought 2 wreaths but have 12 windows. Or maybe your toddler got very eager with the advent calendar. Or maybe the inflatable snowman didn't make it through the snowstorm. Or maybe the twinkle lights aren't twinkling. Whatever the reason, this season, Instacart's here for hosts and their whole holiday haul. Get decorations from the Home Depot, CVS, and more through Instacart, and enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
Let's get started with another look at an organization that's offering help for businesses dealing with stress in the workplace.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
Jennifer Farrer is the Executive Director of the Wellness Council of Indiana. Its mission is to help employers and their workers better prepare for stress.
The Wellness Council of Indiana is here to guide and support employers as they navigate the health and well-being conversation of their workforce. We know that employers are in a very difficult situation a lot of times when it comes to recruiting and retaining their workforce and employees. But what we want is that the opportunity for individuals to show up to be their best selves every day at work. And the Wellness Council of Indiana is here to guide employers in that conversation. The Wellness Council of Indiana is a 501c3 organization, and we are a subsidiary of the Indiana Chamber of Commerce. And that might seem like an odd connection, but what we know is that about 15 years ago, the Indiana Chamber realized that the health of our state was going to be an economic development driver, and that if we were going to recruit and retain business to the state of Indiana, we had to have a healthy workforce. The data suggests that 70% of employees show up every day to work, and that their workplace has a more impact on their mental health than anything else in their life. And we know that as employers really navigate this conversation, that there are many factors that play into that. So when we think about the stigma that relates to the mental health crisis that we're facing as a U.S., we need employers to understand that they are not removed from this conversation. Employers play a very active role in supporting their individuals so that they can show up to be their best selves every day at work. And when we think about stigma, there are a few things that we can do as an employer, and that is to communicate authentically about who we are as an individual, because we know that we want employers to understand physical health needs to have the same importance as mental health, and that people show up every day to their workplace, and sometimes their mental health is good and sometimes it's not. And as an employer, you need to understand and be aware that when individuals are coming to work that they may be struggling. Work-life balance is so important, and in order to really be your best self, you have to be able to give yourself permission as a leader to take that personal time, to take that vacation time, so that you can model what it looks like to be a mentally healthy employee, and your employees will notice. There are a lot of opportunities for employers to really use some resources that are available. Number one, they need to know the impact that this is having on their workplace, and they need to be tuned in to what's going on in their workplace. They need to understand that when somebody shows up and maybe they're just acting a little off, that's okay. But when it becomes a consistent thing that is unusual for that person, they need to be able to connect them to the resources that they need. One of the things that they can do is we have a mental health first aid training program where we train frontline managers and supervisors on how to identify when individuals might be in crisis and connecting them to the resources that are available either internally or externally. So the training component is very, very critical when it comes to that. But first and foremost, we have to reduce the stigma around mental health. We have to let people understand that just like physical health, we come every day with mental health. And again, some days it's good, some days it's bad, but we have to be able to support mental health the same way that we do physical health. Access to care is critically important, and sometimes there are subspecialties within the mental health realm that we need to make sure that we're aware of. Maybe it's challenges with your children and what they're experiencing. Maybe it's a caregiver. Maybe it's an addiction and substance use disorder. So we need to understand that it's not a one-size-fits-all, and mental health is very personal. The other thing that we have to do as employers, small and large, is we have to build the culture. We have to build the culture that acknowledges that it is okay for us to talk about your mental health today. It is okay if you're struggling and you need to utilize some of the resources that are available. It's not something that people need to hide or be ashamed of, because everybody has their story. Everybody talks about how mental health or poor mental health has impacted their lives, and we need to be okay with that. And as we think about what an employer can do, it's about getting to know your employees. It's about being authentic in those relationships. It's about letting them know that you are going to support them and help them navigate this very, very challenging time.
Getting started, made possible by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation.
If you'd like to learn more about preparing for and dealing with stress in the workplace, you can find links at BEOshow.com. If you have a question or maybe you'd like to appear on our show, send us an email, BEO@wishtv.com. The mission of INNOPower is to accelerate economic development and wealth generation in black communities. Wish TV is proud to partner with INNOPower, and an upcoming Minority Business Conference features a powerhouse list of business leaders coming together on the issues. We spoke to the head of INNOPower.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
Emil Ekior, INNOPower Minority Business Week. How many is this now?
This is our 5th year.
Happy?
Excited, elated.
Why?
Beyond, when we started this, we didn't know. So before COVID, we felt like, you know what, Indianapolis is primed and really positioned to be a city that everybody has a chance to be lifted up. And we felt like entrepreneurship should be a pathway to doing that. But we didn't know how people were going to receive it. 5 years later, we're elated. We say we've built the biggest minority business conference in the Midwest. We've had over 200 speakers. We continue to have people wanting to be on our show. The community has embraced it. Our sponsors and partners have grown. And we're partnering with Wish TV this year, so we've really arrived.
We'll talk a little bit about more about that in depth as we jump into this and for some of our friends and neighbors out there, they don't know what this is and what the goal of it is. We talk about a conference, if you've never been to a conference, you think, oh, it's in a hotel room somewhere and they close the door, and then what do you want it to be, and is it pretty close to that vision?
Yes, it is. We felt like there's so much talent in our city, in our state. How do we get everyone to have a voice? How do we listen to people, share their ideas and thoughts? Or how do we create this environment that uplifts everyone? When you meet with people individually, you learn people share those things with you. But we didn't see a space that allowed for that to happen, where we respect your opinion, we respect your views, and we want to create a platform to create that respectful conversation. And we thought those platforms were missing today. So, give you an example, last year we had Whitley Yates, who's the head of DEI for the Republican Party. interviewing Bob Orsley, who's the Democratic City Council chair. Those kind of things don't happen.
Right.
So creating a platform to allow those conversations to happen around a common goal is how do we accelerate economic productivity in our Black communities? If we do that, it helps our entire state. And then we also become a state that sets the tone. We set the precedent on how we do this. So we felt like Indianapolis especially is primed to be that city to lead. We have so many talented people of all ethnic groups and races that really care, that really want to create that environment. Plus the optics we share of Indianapolis to people outside of Indianapolis. What people have said to us like, wow, we didn't know Indianapolis had that many Black leaders. When people see Jeffrey Harrison, the CEO of Citizens Energy, and people see Kara Herron, the Chief Equity Officer of the state, we have so many amazing professionals and leaders in the city that we feel that optics allows us to also be a destination for minority professionals and business owners. So we're excited as to where we are this year, but with everything you do in life, you can always be better. And our partnership with Wish TV is also helping us get better.
Well, you kind of bring that up a couple of times, so let's dive right into it. How are we working together? How do you feel like it benefits the event and your vision of it for the future?
For a major TV station to see what we're doing and say, you know what, we want to work with you to expand this, to reach more people, to share this message. We share the values of what you're trying to share. And Wish TV practices that on a daily basis with how they broadcast the news, the different opportunities they give for Black businesses and professionals to leverage the platform. For us to be able to partner gave us just so much more credibility in what we're trying to do. And plus, we reached so many more people. Last year was a test for us, we wish, and we reached so many more homes. This year, we're just excited, just not in Indianapolis, but around the Midwest. And really, last year we had over 2,000 viewers from Sub-Saharan Africa because they were able to go to your website and watch it.
That's remarkable.
Yes.
Worldwide.
Worldwide. Yeah. Because the message and what we're talking about is global. We're talking about how do you give a group of people economic freedom? How do you uplift them from their circumstances? Marginalized people. And that is the common denominator in our world today. We have so many people that are trying to be uplifted, but we don't have a playbook on how we do that globally. So in Indianapolis, with everything that we've seen since George Floyd, all the activities from corporate Indianapolis, from the city, from the state, how do we bring all of that together, organize it, and then start seeing how our city grows?
It seems important to understand here, this is not, here are these experts who are going to tell you some things and then you go out and this is a conversation in progress. And I presume every year things come out that surprise you in it.
Oh, definitely. Our theme this year is shared vision, shared destination. So every speaker is sharing their vision with their organization of, here's what we're trying to create. Here's the environment we're trying to create in Indianapolis. Here's what we've heard from the community. Here's what we're doing. And at the end of the conference, we create a report that captures all of that, and we share that report with the entire community. The conference of the week is interactive. We celebrate people. We come together to solve problems, to come up with solutions, and then we listen to experts and key stakeholders in our community talk about the vision for where we should be going and where we're headed as a city. We feel we've created a product that allows us to engage everyone from all spectrum, socioeconomics, ethnicities, but this is a space that we say everyone has a voice. And we want to listen to your voice. We want to listen to your opinion. We may not like your opinion sometimes, but we respect it because we feel like you are trying to contribute to what we all want in the city.
This is a favorite part of Business Equity and Opportunities. Time to wrap things up with a dose of inspiration. Empower Results in Fountain Square creates program, partnership, stewardship opportunities with an eye on social and environmental benefits. In short, the aim is to unite people and resources. Empower's work with the city of Indianapolis has won a number of awards.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities Success Story.
Jill Hoffman is the principal owner and the subject of today's success story.
I grew up in Wisconsin, jumping around on the lakes and wetlands of the north, so always had a love for water, which has translated into a love for just a job and a career in the environment. But I actually came down here to go to graduate school at IU because they had a program that was designed to be multidisciplinary, right, where you could do a policy degree and a science degree hand in hand, which honestly is what we need to think about. Every environmental cause has a related policy that needs to be implemented. So I got drawn down here to go to IU and started my career with the Department of Natural Resources, and then just have evolved from that point, realizing that really to protect the natural resources, we have to be having community conversations and good development. And so that's kind of when I moved away from that work at the state and moved into consulting. Well, we started almost 17 years ago, and with the aim of trying to be a bit of a translator, really, to help projects that either cities and towns or engineering firms were doing that had a technical aspect to them that might impact the environment or impact a neighborhood. We kind of help translate the results of those projects to the community and get the community's voice back to the leaders of the projects. So at the end, what we want to do is make sure that we have projects going in our cities that fit the neighborhoods and the community, but also protect the natural environment. So we've worked on a diversity of projects, everything from revitalization efforts in different parts of the city or other cities, to riverfront redevelopment, master planning, to other things like bike share when we wanted to bring that to the city. How do we fit that into the community? How do we get people to understand why that's important? We've worked on big projects like Indy rezone, working on updating our ordinances to be more sustainable and more walkable in that regard as a city. So the process is, we're definitely in a niche. The process is, different cities and towns put out requests for proposals. They have a project they want to do. And then oftentimes maybe an engineering firm will respond to that, or, a different kind of, maybe a landscape architecture firm will respond to that. And then they'll call us and they'll say, hey, there's different environmental concerns on this project, or this project is going to have a big impact to a lot of neighborhoods. Can you join the team and help us figure out how we do these projects with the least impact on the community in a negative way, and the most positive impact on the community in terms of benefit or environmental protection. So half of our team is, scientists and landscape architects. Other parts of our team are communication, education, policy people. So we try to kind of look at public-related projects through a lot of different lenses. Like I said, how do we keep the neighborhoods intact? How do we help a revitalization effort bring something to the community that they actually want and will fit in? But when they bring those new developments in, how do we also make sure that the environment stays protected or maybe even improved? Sometimes environmental issues seem pretty daunting for people, and they're complicated. It's why we have scientists on board and engineers handle these problems. But at the home level, we launched a program a number of years ago called Clear Choices Clean Water. And that just gives people about a dozen different action pledges they can take to really help around their house, because at the end of the day, what shows up in our air and water is a reflection of what we're doing on the landscape at home and at our businesses. So that program, we try to help people take little bite-sized pieces towards sustainability. So that's one way we've gone at it, is to just make sure everybody knows that their own behavior is cumulative, and that can, if we work together as a community, we could really change the quality of our environment. What's in the future? I think we're seeing a lot of our communities turn back toward their waterways, toward their riverfronts. So we're actually starting a project out in Terre Haute on riverfront redevelopment. We've helped Fort Wayne with their riverfront planning. So I think we're seeing people realize that, these things that they previously put their back to and put their discharge pipes into are now a potential both economic development opportunity and a quality of life opportunity. So I think the future is really getting our municipal leaders and our state leaders to just turn back toward the natural resources and incorporate them for the assets that they are. I mean, because people love nature. People feel good around natural spaces. And so the more we can integrate that, the better quality of life we can make.
Our thanks again to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. We hope you found it enlightening, useful, and inspiring. You'll find more information about the show on our website, beoshow.com. You can watch Business Equity and Opportunities Sunday mornings at 10 on Wish TV or live stream it through wishtv.com. Each week we provide 7 full segments with topics ranging from how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors. Join us next time for more insights into the world of small business. Be sure to sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable, up-to-date information. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please email us. The address is beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for listening.
Watch the Business Equity and Opportunity Show on Wish TV and access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at beoshow.com. You can find more podcasts from Wish TV on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.